In a galaxy where stars shine bright but friendships fade with distance, one human struggles to hold on to a bond that meant everything. As the void grows wider between them and someone they once laughed with, one truth remains: humanity never gives up. This is a story of hope, heart, and the will to reconnect across the stars. Lena sat alone on the rooftop of her home on Mars Colony 3, staring at the sky above. Earth looked like a pale blue star from here, small, soft, far away. Fingers gripped the edge of her jacket as the cool night air wrapped around her. The dome above gave a clear view of the stars, but tonight none of them felt warm. None of them felt close. It had been 7 months since Jin left. He wasn't just her best friend, he was her anchor. The one who always made her laugh when the gravity of life on Mars felt too heavy. They used to watch old Earth films together. They dreamed about building their own ship, flying across the stars, visiting forgotten planets. Now, it felt like all of that had disappeared when he left for the Lunar Academy on Earth's moon. He had said, "I'll call every week, I promise." He had meant it. But weeks became months. Messages slowed, then stopped. Lena didn't know why. She had sent updates, jokes, even pictures of their old hangout spot in the hydroponics garden. No reply. At first she thought something went wrong with his device, or maybe the time zones were just too different. But the truth started to feel heavier than any excuse. Maybe he had moved on. She pressed her forehead against her knees. "I miss you," she whispered, though no one was there to hear. She felt embarrassed by how much it still hurt. Mars had people, had life. But without Jin, the world felt ... empty, and still she couldn't let go. Humans weren't built to forget. They were built to remember, built to caravan when it hurt. That was the HFY spirit she had grown up hearing about. Humanity, proud and stubborn, never letting the stars erase what matters most. Lena stood up and walked inside. The small metal room buzzed with recycled air and silent machines. Her desk was messy, filled with sketches of starships, old photos, and one small black and white picture of her and Jin. They were both laughing, faces smudged with grease, standing. Under the half-built wing of their dream ship, she touched the photo. "I don't know what happened, Jin," she said softly, "but I still believe in us." Maybe it wasn't enough to wait. Humans were explorers. Yes, builders, survivors. But they were also fighters for love, for friendship, for every little thing that gave their journey meaning. She opened her come screen. The last message she sent was 2 months ago. It was just a simple, "Hey, miss you." No reply. Her fingers hovered over the keypad. Should she try again? Would it be too much? She took a breath and typed, double quotes, "Jin. I know it's been a long time. I don't know why things went quiet, but I still remember everything. Our ship plans, our stupid movie nights, the way we laughed even when the oxygen system failed. I don't want to let go of all that. Not without trying. I hope you're okay. I hope we can talk again. I'll wait. No pressure. Just, I miss you, Lena." Did it twice. Then sent it. There it was out in the universe now. She didn't know what would happen. Next, maybe he'd see it. Maybe he wouldn't. But at least she had tried. At least she had chosen hope over silence. That night, she went back to the rooftop. The stars were still distant.
Ow.
Earth still looked like a dot. But something inside her felt a little warmer, because deep down, Lena believed in what made humans different. Not their ships, not their strength, but their heart, their refusal to let distance erase the people they care about. She whispered to the sky, "Come back, Jin. Even if it takes a light year." And somewhere, far across the stars, a message beeped on a dusty screen. Asterisk, Lena lives. On Mars, her best friend Jin moved to Earth's moon and stopped replying. She feels alone, but she still believes in their bond. Last night, she sent him a heartfelt message. She doesn't know if he'll reply, but she hasn't given up, because that's what makes humans special. Keep hoping, even when things seem far apart. The next morning, Lena woke up early. She didn't plan to. Her eyes just opened, like her body knew something was waiting. She rubbed her face and stared at the soft glow of her come screen. No new messages. Her chest felt tight. "Okay?" she whispered, sitting up. It's just the first day. She got dressed and walked to the colony greenhouse. The air there was warmer, moist. It smelled like mint and sunflowers. It was one of the few places that reminded her of Earth. Even though she'd never been there, Jin used to meet her here after long shifts. They'd sit near the water tank and share stories about the future. He wanted to build medical drones. She wanted to design long-range explorers. Now she sat alone on the bench holding a thermos of tea. A young boy passed by and smiled politely. She gave a small smile back, then looked at her hands. Why does it hurt like this? She thought. We're both alive. It's not like he disappeared forever. That was the strange part. Jin was still out there, probably walking under Earth's cloudy sky. Maybe laughing with new people. Maybe forgetting about her. That idea made her chest ache more than silence. Still, something inside her refused to give up. Maybe it was the part of her that grew up hearing Earth history. Stories about how humans crossed oceans without maps, flew into space with weak engines, and survived cold nights by sitting close to one another. Humans didn't quit. Not on people they loved. She left the greenhouse and walked toward the garage. Old tools hung on metal walls. Dust danced in sunlight from the high windows. In the corner sat something she hadn't touched in months. Their ship, or at least the skeleton of it. The frame was crooked. One wing was still missing. Panels lay scattered across the floor. But the nameplate was there, still attached, scratched but readable. Sky Echo. Jin came up with that name. We'll echo through the stars, he had said once. So even if we're far apart, we'll hear each other. Lena stepped toward the frame. Her hand brushed over the cold metal. For a second, she saw them against covered. In grease, laughing after accidentally melting a circuit board, she smiled. A soft, sad smile. And then, something shifted. A tiny beep echoed from her pocket. She froze, heart pounding. She pulled out her cum pad. A message. From Jin, her hand shook. She pressed it open, double quotes Lena. I got your message. I'm sorry, I really am. I didn't mean to disappear. Things here got loud, fast, and I didn't know how to say I was overwhelmed. But I never stopped thinking about you. Still remember everything. The movies, the garden, Sky Echo. I miss it all. I miss you. Do you still believe in us? I hope you do. I do. Her knees went weak. She sat down on the floor, tears gathering in her eyes. He was still there. He hadn't forgotten. For a long moment, she just held the screen to her chest and breathed. Then she laughed, a soft, trembling laugh. This was what hope did. This was why humans didn't give up. They waited. They reached out. They forgave. She sent a reply. Right away, yes. I believe in us. I never stopped. Sky Echo's still here. She's dusty, but maybe we can finish her together someday. I'll wait. However long it takes. She stood up, wiped her eyes, and looked at the unfinished ship. Let's fix you up. She whispered to it, because reconnecting wasn't just about messages. It was about remembering, rebuilding, holding on even across planets. The stars might be far. But hearts didn't care about distance, and Lee, now just one human girl on a cold, red planet, felt warmth inside her again because someone cared, and someone came back. Lena lives on Mars. Her best friend Jin moved to Earth's moon and stopped replying. She felt lost and heartbroken but never gave up. She sent him a message from her heart and he finally replied. Now, with hope returning, Lena begins to believe that even across stars, connections can be rebuilt. Humanity always finds a way. Lena couldn't stop smiling. The words Jin sent kept replaying in her mind, like a song she didn't want to forget. I never stopped thinking about you. That one line was enough to make the long silence melt away. All those lonely nights, all those doubts, are now part of a bigger story, a human story of reaching out, holding on, and never giving up. But even with the message, things weren't perfect. Jin hadn't messaged again in 3 days. Lena tried not to worry. He was probably busy. Training at the Lunar Academy must be hard. He had told her he was overwhelmed before. She didn't want to pressure him. Still, every morning she checked her compad first thing. Every night she stared at the stars a little. Longer, the silence had returned, but this time it felt different, less painful. Because now she had something to hold on to. Hope. In the meantime, she kept herself busy. She returned to the ship Sky Echo and began working. The old frame groaned when she climbed in, but the inside still smelled like old oil and dreams. Started small, cleaning the seats, organizing tools, scanning the wiring sometimes. She talked to the ship like Jin was beside her. Remember when you dropped the wrench on your foot? She chuckled one afternoon, tried to pretend it. Didn't hurt, but your face turned red like Mars dust. She laughed quietly, even if no one heard. Later that day, she sat outside the ship, a wrench in her hand, and looked up at the stars again. She thought about why humans like her kept trying. Was it love, memory, or just the fact that humans weren't built to let go? Maybe it was all three. Back in Earth's ancient history, people used to write letters and wait months for answers. They waited through storms, wars, and silence. And still they wrote. Lena understood that now, because she was doing the same. Waiting, hoping, believing that night she couldn't sleep. The colony was quiet, filled with low hums and soft lights. She turned in bed, thinking about Jin. Was he okay? Was he reading her message again like she was reading his? Her fingers hovered over her compad. This time, she didn't try to write something perfect. She just typed what she felt. Hey, know you're busy. No rush. I just wanted you to know. I'm still here. Sky Echo's looking better, and I'm doing okay. I hope you are too. I really liked your message. I read it every day, Lena. She hit send. Simple, honest human. The next morning, her screen blinked again. A reply, hey, I'm glad you wrote. Training's been rough. Long days, tests. But your message helped. It reminded me why I started this journey in the first place. I'm proud of you, Lena, for keeping the ship alive. For holding on. Let's talk soon. I promise. Lena held the screen to her chest. These short messages meant everything. Maybe they weren't talking every day. Maybe they were still apart. But their words crossed the stars. And that was enough for now. She walked back to the garage, opened the door, and looked at Sky Echo. One of the side panels was bent. She smiled and grabbed her tools. I'll fix you, she said. It's just like I'll fix what we lost. And maybe one day, when the ship was ready, when Jin was ready, they'd fly again, together, across the stars, across the distance, because that's what humans do. They build. They reach. They love. Even when it's hard. Even when they're light years apart. And as long as there was one message left to send, one star left to chase, Lena would keep going, because the heart of humanity was never just in ships or cities, it was in the quiet. Brave decision to hope again. Asterisk Lena lives on Mars. Her best friend Jin moved to the moon and slowly stopped messaging. But Lena never gave up. She reached out and Jin replied. Their bond isn't perfect again, but it's not broken either. Lena works on their old ship, Sky Echo, hoping that one day they'll fly together again. Humanity never quits on people they care about. It was the third week since Lena and Jin had started talking again. The messages were short. Sometimes days passed without a word, but each one brought warmth to her heart, like little lights in the long night of space. Still something felt missing. Lena didn't know how to say it, but she felt it inside. They were talking, but they weren't close again, not like before. She didn't blame Jin. Life on Earth's moon must be hard. New friends, new challenges, constant training. She wanted to support him, but deep inside, she missed the way things used to be. Long talks, the silly arguments, the way their voices fit together like puzzle pieces. Now, their connection felt like it was floating light. Quiet, distant. That morning, Lena stared at Sky Echo's dashboard. Wires were half connected, and tools lay across the seat. She wasn't sure what to do next. She had fixed the left wing, placed a cracked panel, even cleaned the inside window, but today, her hands didn't move. Her heart felt heavy again. Jin, she whispered, where are you really? She wished she could see his face, hear his voice. Just once, on a sudden thought, she pulled up her compad and searched for something she had never tried before. Live Moonfeed. Lunar Academy Public Broadcasts. A small window popped up. It showed students in gray and blue uniforms walking across bright metal halls under white lights. Somewhere in that crowd, Jin might be walking too. Her eyes scanned the faces. But it was like looking for a star in daylight. She didn't find him. Still, just seeing the place made him feel more real again. Not just a voice and a message. Not just a memory. She closed the feed and sat still. I want to reconnect, she thought. But how? Suddenly, her eyes drifted to an old memory cube on her shelf. It was shaped like a tiny cube of glass. It held a hologram inside an old video recording. One she hadn't watched in months. She picked it up and turned it on. A tiny 3D image flickered into the air. There she was, laughing. Beside her, Jin waved at the camera with both hands, a wrench in his mouth, and oil on his cheek. They were younger, smiling, full of ideas. They had recorded that video when they first started building Sky Echo. Lena's throat tightened. She paused the cube and grabbed her compad. Her fingers flew. Jin, do you remember this? Sent the video. A few hours passed. No reply. She walked outside the colony, near the edge of the red hills, and sat on a rock. The wind was dry, soft, almost lonely. She stared at the stars, wondering which one hid the moon. She closed her eyes. I don't want us to fade, she whispered. Not just become a memory. Her pad beeped. A message. Lena, I can't believe you still have that video. Right. Out loud when I saw it. I needed that. Thank you. Miss those days. I miss us. Lena smiled and felt tears in her eyes. Then another message came. Can I call you? Just for a minute? Her heart jumped. She quickly typed, yes, please. A moment later, the screen lit up. And there he was. Jin. Older. A little tired. But still him. Hey, said with a shy smile. Lena froze for a second. Then she smiled wide. Hey. They didn't talk about big things. Just shared stories. Laughed at the old video. Asked how each other's days were. The call lasted 5 minutes, but it meant everything. After it ended, Lena looked at the stars again. The distance was still there. But it didn't feel cold anymore, because now she knew real bonds didn't break with space or time. They just needed a spark. A memory. A message. Something human. Something hopeful. And humans, no matter how far they is, drift always find a way back to each other. Lena lives on Mars. Her best friend Jin moved to the moon and stopped replying, but she didn't give up. She reached out with hope, and he replied. Their connection slowly returned. They shared messages, memories, and finally a short video. Call, but even after the call, Lena still feels the distance. Can their bond grow stronger again? Humanity always tries. Lena kept replaying the video call in her mind. Jin's smile, his voice.
The way he said,
I miss us. It had only been 5 minutes, but it felt like opening a window after a long winter. Like breathing fresh air after months of silence. For the first time in a while, Lena didn't feel completely alone. Still, after the call ended, something lingered, a strange feeling she couldn't explain. She was happy, but also unsure. 1. Call wasn't enough to fix everything. There were still long days. When she heard nothing, there were still moments when she picked up her compad and stared at the screen, wishing for a new message that never came. She didn't want to ask for more, didn't want to seem needy. But the truth was, she missed Jin deeply. She wanted to talk more, laugh more, share more, but she didn't know how to say it. Why is it so hard? She whispered one evening while sitting inside Sky Echo's cockpit. The wires were nearly finished. The left wing worked. The oxygen meter needed adjusting, but it was close. The ship was slowly coming back to life. Lena looked around the small space and saw 2 seats. One for her, one for Jin. They had dreamed of flying it together. Now she wasn't sure if they ever would. Later that night, she wrote a message, then deleted it, then wrote it again. Jin, I really liked our call. Think about it a lot. I miss you more than I can say. I know you're busy. I know life is fast. But even just a short message means a lot to me. I hope that's okay to say. Hesitated. Her thumb hovered over the send button. Then she pressed it and waited the next day. There was no reply. The day after that, still nothing. Lena told herself not to panic, not to overthink, but the silence started to weigh on her again. She kept working. On Sky Echo, but her hands moved slower. Her smile faded. Her heart felt heavy again. Then, on the third day, just before she closed her eyes to sleep, her screen blinked. From Jin. She opened it quickly. Lena, I'm sorry I didn't reply right. Away. Your message, it made me feel a lot. I've been afraid that I've hurt you, that I've been distant for too long. But the truth is, I still care about you deeply. Maybe even more now. I just didn't know how to say it. Her eyes filled with tears. Another message came right after. Thank you for still believing in us. You're the reason I get through some of the hardest days here. I want to talk more. I really do. I just need you to be patient with me. I'm not perfect, but I'm trying. Lena smiled through the tears. That was all she needed to hear. Not perfect. Trying. That was what made humans special. Not their speed. Not their machines. Not their perfect plans. But their hearts. Their effort. Their hope. She sent a message back. I'm not perfect either, but I'll wait. We're still building something just like this ship, and I think it's worth it. She placed the pad beside her and looked out the window. The stars didn't seem as far now. She could almost imagine Jin looking at them too. From the moon, thinking the same thing. The next day, she cleaned the cockpit and placed 2 cups in the holders, just like old times. She whispered, "This is still our ship," because no matter the distance, no matter the silence, she believed something simple but powerful. Humans care, humans hold on, and humans always find a way to rebuild what truly matters, even if it takes time, even if the stars are between them. Asterisk Lena and Jin were best friends, but distance separated them, she on Mars, he on the moon. After months of silence, they began speaking again. The connection isn't easy, but they're trying. Lena keeps fixing their old ship, Sky Echo, and holds on to hope. Because no matter the space between them, humanity keeps reaching for what it loves. Lena stood outside the garage, looking up at the pale sky above Mars. The sun was rising, casting golden light across the red hills. A soft wind blew across the ground, carrying the smell of dry dust and warm metal. Inside, Sky Echo waited. The ship was almost complete. She had spent the last month fixing every wire, every bolt. The engine still needed testing, and the navigation system was outdated. But the ship looked alive again. Lena wiped her hands on her coveralls. Oil smudged her cheeks and her hair was tied back in a messy bun. She took a deep breath and walked. Inside, sitting in the pilot's seat, she stared at the second chair beside her. It was empty, but she imagined Jin sitting there, smiling at her like old times. She whispered, "We're almost ready." Over the last few weeks, they had exchanged more messages, some short, some long. Sometimes they joked, sometimes they just shared quiet updates. But Lena still felt something missing. They weren't fully back yet. The friendship was real, but it was like a bridge half built strong on one side, still reaching for the other, and Jin had stopped replying again. It had been for days, no message. No call. Lena didn't want to jump to conclusions. She knew life on the moon was busy. He had told her that training was difficult, that his schedule was packed. Still, it hurt. I just want to understand, she thought. I just want to feel. Close again. That evening, she sat alone on the colony roof, watching the stars blink in the black sky. She hugged her knees, letting the silence wrap around her like a blanket. She thought about what made humans different. It wasn't their machines, wasn't their buildings, or their speed. It was this quiet ache, this hope that refused to die, even when people moved away, even when voices faded, even when memories began to blur. Lena opened her pad. She didn't write a message. This time, she started recording a voice clip. Her voice was soft but steady. "Hey, Jin. I know we don't talk every day, and I understand, I really do. But I miss you. I miss who we were. I miss Sky Echo being our dream, not just mine. Just want you to know I'm not going anywhere. I'll still be here, still fixing the ship. Still waiting, because I believe in us. Maybe not like before, but maybe in a new way, a stronger way." She paused, then smiled. "I hope you hear this soon," she sent the message. After that, she didn't wait by the screen. She didn't sit and hope it would blink. She went to work. She updated the power cells, checked the engine core, polished the front panel until it reflected the red dust in her tired face, and she kept imagining that moment. One day when Jin would sit beside her again, when Sky Echo would rise above the Martian sky, and laughter would return like sunlight after a long storm. 2 days later, her pad lit up. A voice message. She held it close and pressed play. Jin's voice came through, shaky but full of warmth. "Lena, I listened to your message 5 times. I'm sorry for going quiet again. I didn't know what to say. Sometimes I feel like I'm failing everything, my training, my friendships, even you. But hearing your voice reminded me who I am, who we are. I still want to be part of this, still want to be beside you in that ship. I don't know how soon, but one day I'll come back." Lena covered her mouth, trying not to cry. He wasn't perfect, neither was she, but they were trying, and that was what made them human. Not the easy moments, but the hard ones, the lonely days, the small messages that lit up the darkness. She looked. At Sky Echo, the ship was almost ready, but more importantly, so was her heart, because humans don't give up on people they love, even when they move away, even when it hurts, even when they're light years apart. Lena lives on Mars, and Jin is on the moon. They've been distant, but slowly their friendship is coming back. Messages, calls, and hope keep them connected. The ship they dreamed of building, Sky Echo, is almost ready. Lena believes that no matter the distance, human hearts find ways to reconnect. The day was bright on Mars, and the red dust sparkled in the sunlight. Lena stood near the garage door, holding a small box of tools. She felt a strange mix of hope and nervousness. Jin had sent a message the night before, asking if they could video call again. This time, Lena said yes, without hesitation. But now, standing alone, she wondered if it would feel different. Would the distance still be there? Would the words come easy? She took a deep breath and went inside. Sky Echo stood proud in the middle of the garage. The ship was nearly finished. The smooth metal wings gleamed. The cockpit glass was clear. The engines were ready to roar. Lena ran her hand across the dashboard, felt warm, alive. She sat in the pilot seat and opened her pad. The call came. In Jin's face appeared, tired but smiling. "Hey," said softly. "Hey," Lena replied, trying to sound strong. They talked about small things first. The weather on Mars, the training on the moon, the meals they missed. Then slowly, their conversation grew deeper. Jin shared his fears, how sometimes he felt like he didn't belong, how the moon felt lonely, even surrounded by people. Lena listened. She understood. She told him about her nights on Mars, how the silence sometimes felt like a wall between them. They didn't solve everything in one call, but they laughed, they shared, they remembered. When the call ended, Lena felt lighter. She looked at Sky Echo and whispered, "We're closer now." That night, she wrote a message. "Jin, thank you for being brave enough to talk. It means more. Then I can say we're not perfect, but maybe that's okay. Maybe perfect is trying even when it's hard. I'm here, and I'm not going anywhere." She sent it and smiled. Days passed. But their messages came more often, sometimes short, sometimes long, but always real. Lena kept working on Sky Echo. She fixed the engines, calibrated the controls, and cleaned every surface. One afternoon as she worked, she found an old notebook they'd shared years ago. Inside were sketches of star maps, dreams, of places they wanted to visit, and notes about friendship. She smiled and added a new note. No matter the distance, we'll find a way. She closed the notebook and looked out the window. The stars twinkled far away. But she felt them closer now, because humanity was not just about reaching stars with ships. It was about reaching hearts with hope. And Lena knew no matter what happened, she and Jin would find their way back to each other, because that was what humans did. They never gave up. Asterisk. Lena and Jin have been apart for a long time, she on Mars, he on the moon. Their friendship felt distant, but they kept trying. Messages, calls, hope, and an old ship brought them closer. Now, as Sky Echo waits ready to fly, Lena knows that no matter how far apart people are, human hearts can reconnect. This is a story of hope and the strength to keep reaching. The day finally arrived. The day Lena had dreamed about for so long. Sky Echo was ready. The engines hummed softly as she ran her fingers over the control panel. The ship gleamed under the soft lights of the garage. Every bolt, every wire was in place. It was more than a ship. Now it was a symbol of hope, of friendship, of never giving up. She looked at the second seat beside her. Empty but waiting, her compad beeped. Message from Jin, I'm coming home. Her heart raced. She stared at the words again and again. Jin had finished his training. He was on his way to Mars. She dropped the tools and ran outside. Now the red dust swirled around her boots. She looked up at the sky, imagining the small ship carrying Jin through space, through the cold and the dark. Towards her, tears welled in her eyes. After everything, the silence, the distance, the doubts they were going to be together again. She sent a quick message. I'll be waiting. Safe journey. Days passed slowly. Every moment felt heavy with hope. Lena worked on Sky Echo one last time, checking systems and polishing surfaces. She remembered all the times they had dreamed of this, flying together, exploring the stars, building a future. Now that future felt real. Then one evening, the sky lit up with the bright trail of a ship entering Mars. Atmosphere, her heart leaped. The ship landed softly near the colony. Lena ran to meet it. The door opened, and there he was. Jin, tired, smiling, real. They didn't say much at first, no. Grand speeches, no promises. Just a hug that spoke louder than words. They stood there, holding on, knowing the distance had not broken them. Later, as they sat inside Sky Echo, the ship finally ready to fly, Lena smiled and said, We made it. Jin nodded. Together. She looked out the window at the stars shining bright above. Mars, the distance between them was gone, because humanity was not just about space travel. It was about heart, hope, and the power to never give up on each other.